There was a very common joke in the beginning of 1990s when then Russian President Boris Yeltsin was asked how is the situation in Russia, very briefly in one word, and he said good. And everybody was shocked in the beginning of 1990s. Russia was a total mess. It still is, but for different reasons. So people asked, could you elaborate a little bit, let's say in 2 words? And he said, not good. So I think the same applies to European defense and to European defense technology. Seemingly we are very good. We have the best weapons in the world and we have best engineers and best technology. What we cannot do is that we cannot develop technology, military technology, that is just good enough, not perfect, but good enough, and we cannot produce mass, and that is a problem. And even more than just talk about the very generic European approach, I think it's far more important to look locally. It's not so much what Europe can do, but what countries like Latvia can do. How to make your country more resilient, how to make your country more self-sustainable and stronger in the military sense. Yes, Frankenburg Technologies has its subsidiary in Latvia, Frankenburg Technologies SIA. We are doing very well because of the Latvian brains, most of our missile development, and we are the company that develops and produces counter-UAV missiles, which are best in the world because they are almost only one in the world that are affordable and mass producible. So we are doing well. I think in all of our countries, and I'm coming from Estonia originally, in all of our countries we are in this kind of breaking point. There is a revolution, military revolution ongoing, and we have to be, as a small country, ahead of the developments, ahead of the curve. But somehow it feels that we are too often behind the curve. And what do I mean by that is that we do not have enough, in my opinion, kind of risk-taking to develop as a country defense industry, to say that this is what we need in this period. We have to have this cross-governmental solution, that clear political leadership, that, for example, when we talk about mass production of the drones, is where can we produce them? How quickly can we license the companies that want to produce military drones and dual-use drones? Where can we test them? Can we establish static and permanent training areas for civilian companies to train the drones? This is already another ministry responsibility. Can we have economical benefits from the Ministry of Economy or from LIA in Latvia to establish those companies? Can we have enough engineers? Can we have enough technicians or drone pilots? So Ministry of Education needs to look at what needs to be done in the education matters. So it's a very complex problem and it needs a very clear and strong political leadership and guidance. I'm sorry to say, but also our political leadership in all of our countries in Baltic states is a little bit behind the curve. Not very much, but just a little bit. And sometimes a little bit is just too much. I think there is no one-size-fits-all solution. So at the end of the day, we need a cat that catches a mouse, and mice even better, because there will be a lot of mice in the UAV world when Russia decides to militarily interfere into our matters. So at the end, it doesn't matter which way we go. But the bottom line is still that there is only one nation in the world that is deeply interested in defending Latvia, and those are Latvian nations, or Latvians. And there is no one else problem. So Latvia has to do a lot to defend Latvia. And then if Europe helps and NATO helps, it's good for Latvia, but Latvia needs to do more, like Estonia or Lithuania or Finland or Poland, whichever country feels threatened against Russia. I think countering drones is the single biggest gap. It's a huge gap. We are not at all prepared to this kind of warfare as we see currently Russia wages in its aggression against Ukraine. We are utterly unprepared. There are initiatives in every single country, also NATO-wide initiatives and European Union-wide initiatives. But I think they are too slow, too behind the curve, and they're not massive initiatives. So the whole gap of counter UAVs is just huge, and I think it's just growing and accelerating. I mean, there are different estimates, but last year alone, Russia probably produced more than 2 million drones. So it's for one soldier, 4 to 5 drones that are fighting in Ukraine. So if I bring that to the Latvian context, and Latvian military, which is around, let's say, 15,000 people, should every year, consume around 60 to 70,000 drones. Where are those drones? And Latvian military should be prepared against this 60, 100,000 drones facing every year. So somehow you have to take those drones down. So it's a huge gap. Not only that, Frankenburg Technologies' mission says that we provide technology for the free world to win the war. And we are very, very committed, we are very mission-oriented, and not only in Latvia, but also in other Baltic states. In addition to that, in Ukraine, in UK, in Denmark, in Germany, and in Poland. So we are going to be there, we're close, and we're committed to win the war. I think what's different now are two things. First of all, we are not really, as a Europe, taking military threats seriously. We are talking about it, but we're not really taking it seriously. Ukrainians are taking it seriously, not us. And that's why we cannot portray a future where Europe or some European country is in war against Russia. So that slows us down because we do not feel that the threat is actually clear and it is there, right there behind the corner. But second is that, and that comes from the threat perceptions, we don't do enough, not only in the military development, but also all the other things that are surrounding that. We talked about the cross-governmental application, cross-governmental support to military revolution, and this is exactly something very, very new that is happening, and thereby we need to do new things, novel things. So things and the activities that brought us here will not carry us forward. So we need to change ourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.